Hello, hi, and thanks for joining me for another making of video. This week, I keep telling myself that I repeat myself much often that I like to do, but it is true that today we have a very special postcard given a number of things that I am about to share with you. So if you have, and I think you do, you have already listened to the this week's postcard as we are getting close to reach the 50. We are still in the forest number, and we are having a piece that is part of the very well-known zarzuela Luisa Fernanda. Luisa Fernanda, that is one of the most famous, most well-known, most important zarzuelas of the whole gender that has been played, that has representations all over the world. Well, it is about this Luisa Fernanda that the piece for this week's postcard is taken. The postcard is usually called Coro de Vareadores. We will get into the detail of whether it is not or what the name comes from. Again, as we have done in a few times in the past, we will not be stopping in detail around the text or the lyrics of this song of this romanza because I'd rather share with you if in this 20 minutes window that we are used to having together many other things that I think are very important to share. Okay, so first things first, I have mentioned a good number of times somehow trying to share with you the rationale for why having zarzuela in this cycle of fine music celebrating Mexico was important. And today, moreover than many other times, I can share with you evidence of what I have told you in the past. We have shared in the past that the zarzuela had a moment in Mexico where it was very well known, where it was very famous. There were performances here and there. Unfortunately, in the past 20, maybe 30 years, yeah, almost 30 years, there's been a decline of zarzuela in Mexico. But there were few decades, mainly in the late 50s, 60s, 70s, and even the 80s, where attending a zarzuela performance was as important as attending an opera at Bellas Artes. That means that many Mexican singers started singing zarzuela. There are many very well-known names of very famous Mexican singers who actually started there. I have also shared with you in the past that, and you may know also that Plácido Domingo has a very special bond with this country. Part of this bond with Mexico is that he was born in Spain, as everybody knows, but he spent a good number of years when he was very young, a kid, and after in a few years of his adolescence, he spent in this country because the Compañía de Zarzuela, this group for Zarzuela, that was led by his parents, Madame Pepita Envil and Plácido Domingo, his father, were the leads of this Compañía de Zarzuela. So Mexico mm, was very lucky to have two of the major performers of the zarzuela gender for a good number of years. In fact, both of his parents spent the rest of his life here in Mexico, in this country, and it is because of a very unfortunate situation that Madame Pepita Envil passed away. She passed away in this country, in Mexico, and it is Plácido Domingo himself who travels back to Mexico because of this unfortunate disease of his mother. And many people may not know, but there were years with a state TV channel, in part one of the major educational university levels in Mexico called Instituto Politécnico Nacional. The Instituto Politécnico Nacional still has a TV channel where they play or the catalog or the portfolio of the production itself and the transmission of cultural and sport and key events for the country and for the institution itself are usually played. Canal Once was very fortunate to have Pepita Envil herself, Pepita Envil, the mother of Plácido Domingo, being the host for one of the most important programs those days. It was Antología de la Zarzuela. So Pepita and Bill would go ahead and present uh, these recordings of several sometimes scenes, sometimes just romanzas, and she would comment it. And having had the chance of listening to or watching these programs where Pepita, who had been the main character of many of those, was actually sharing her thoughts and experiences. So I think Canal Once was very lucky of reaching one of its highest peaks with this program and having Pepita and Bill herself conducting the program. Fortunately, as I was telling you, she passed away, she deceased, and Plácido Domingo himself come back to Mexico. And what he does is that he presents, and I am about to share this with you. What he does is that he himself presents. So I was telling you, I will leave a few minutes of the introduction to that very special program. I was telling you, Placido Domingo himself travels to Mexico to take over the role or this conducting. He's hosting the program himself, and it is very interesting, not only because Plácido Domingo is hosting now the Antología de la Zarzuela program in Mexico in Canal Once, but the most important thing here is that the zarzuela that we are talking about today, this splendid Luisa Fernanda, is in fact what is presented that day. In the library of this channel, Canal Once, they still kept the studio recording of Pepita Emil herself and Mr. Plácido Domingo, the father of Plácido Domingo, singing as well. So both of them are performers in this representation of Luisa Fernanda, and it is in fact what Plácido Domingo is presenting on that day. This recording is dated back to 1971. So it's been a good number of years since it has been a good number of years since it was recorded. And let me go back to a couple of comments that he himself does while he's introducing this material. Maestro Torroba, the author of this zarzuela, used to say that Pepita Envil was the perfect Luisa Fernanda. She was she found herself so perfectly matching the character, the mood, and the vocal sound that it was expected from the role that Pepita Envil was the perfect Luisa Fernanda. Also, if you are aware of this zarzuela, you may also know that Vidal Hernando is the man who would like to marry her, and that at the end he's about to marry her when everything falls apart. And everybody loves the role of Vidal Hernando because Vidal Hernando is a very attractive character on scene, while the tenor is uh, to be detested. It's a horrible role to sing because nobody really wants to to give an applause to the tenor after being so mean, so bad at Luisa Fernanda because he leaves her. And I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but tenors themselves do not really like singing Luisa Fernanda because of the role is not very much appreciated, while Vidal Hernando is really loved. And now I would also like to share with you a personal anecdote around this Coro de Vareadores, also known or uh, that should be known, or yeah, it is also known as Ay, mi morena, morena clara. And this anecdote goes back to the early 2000s where I was attending a representation of Luisa Fernanda herself also in a theater. And I recall that there was there were many people waiting to pay their tickets and to have access to the theater. And I recall that after the pause of the first act, there was this old woman who arrived herself, I mean, all alone, all by herself. Nobody was with her, and she was very old. And I recall that she opened the door to gain access to the seats. I was close to the beginning of the line, so that's why I recall her. I remember that she opened, and I looked at her face, and she was very like desperate. In her face, you could see desperation, anguish, and the moment she got in the room, she said she entered asking, "Has Vidal already sung the Morena Morena Clara?" I remember that I turned my head to her and told her, "No, we just finished Act One. That will come later. In fact, it is almost the end of the opera." And she said, in great relief, she said, "Oh my God, oh my God, I'm so happy because the subway had stopped suddenly, so I could not arrive on time, and I really paid for this because I really want to see the Luisa Fernanda." And I really wanted to see this particular romanza, the Morena Clara, the Coro de Vareadores, because the next moment the thing she shared with me is that his deceased husband, she was already a widow. She told me that his deceased husband used to call her also his Morena Clara. So you may find a perfect example of how important sometimes a given piece of music is for us. So I remember that I then thought, of course, she loves this music, but moreover, she wants to be here because this will bring her back the memories of his deceased husband. Now, I think it's time. I think it's time for us to have the opportunity of sharing this stage material transmitted by Canal 11 with this recording of Luisa Fernanda. We are about to see this splendid romanza called Coro de Vareadores. You will notice that the participation of the chorus is in fact very short. That's something that I left in the notes of the postcard. What I was telling you that it is not a choir or a full choral composition, but a small participation. Still, it is called the Coro de Vareadores, sung by Vidal Hernando, and this is what I am about to share with you. I am very happy to share this material, which, by the way, you can find complete already in YouTube. Somebody had the copy of it, already uploaded it, and if you would like to see the complete performance, you just need to watch for or look for in YouTube for Luisa Fernanda, Canal 11 recording, and there you go. You will have it. So let's listen to this very beautiful piece of music. That, of course, not only old baritones but also tenors love to sing.
Pero si ya va a ser mía. No caviles, pensamiento. Bienvenidos los vareadores, y aquí alegres venís y cantando, con vosotros yo quiero cantar, cantar mis amores, pues me enamoré. En una de esa de la extrema casina chiquina y blancuta. Parece un palacio mi pobre casina, pues guarda una moza como una infantina, y llena de gozo saber que la moza me aguarda y me espera contando las horas, pensar que la tratan igual que a una reina, y ser en mis prados el rey que la espera. Ay, mi morena, morena clara, ay, mi morena, que gusto de mirarla, toda la vida, mi compañera, toda la vida será la mi morena. Ay, mi morena, morena clara, ay, mi morena, que gusto de mirarla. Encinares de la viveza, los vareadores van a su faena. Por los encinares voy en mi caballo a ver a la moza que me ha enamorado. Era si Dios quiere el ama y señora de los encinares y de mi persona, y de los pastores de la dulce gaita, y harán las delicias de la soberana. Ay, mi morena, morena clara, ay, mi morena, que gusto de mirarla toda la vida, mi compañera, toda la vida será la mi morena. Ay, mi morena, morena clara, ay, mi morena, toda la vida, mi compañera, toda la vida será la mi morena. Vais a conocer a la...
Well, this has been the beautiful Morena Morena Clara. I would also like to share with you very quickly some part of the score. The chorus, in fact, the tiples as it is, as you can see, there are the tenors and the basses line, of course. Si por el rizo, si por la vera, si por el rizo, se fue la mi morena, sin mi morena, morena clara, sin mi morena, no sirvo ya para nada. So this very memorable line of sin mi morena, morena clara, sin mi morena, no sirvo ya para nada is in fact how this romanza ends. And as you may have already noticed, the melody is very attractive as in it goes en una dehesa de la Extremadura tengo una casina blanquina y chicuca. Parece un palacio mi pobre casina, pues guarda una moza como una infantina. Me llena de gozo saber que la moza me aguarda y me espera contando las horas. This very attractive, lovely melody is repeated so that we can reach the part that we saw in the introduction by the chorus, but now it is Vidal Hernando himself. Ay, mi morena, morena clara, ay, mi morena, qué gusto de mirarla toda la vida, mi compañera, toda la vida, será la mi morena. And you can see, so that's why this romanza is more, or well, very more known as also the Mi Morena, Morena Clara, because now the chorus will go back to that. Ay, mi morena, morena clara, ay, mi morena, qué gusto de mirarla. So Vidal Hernando is describing Luisa Fernanda as a beautiful brown hair, his brunette, that he has fallen so deeply in love with, and that Maestro Moreno Torroba wrote to the great pleasure of everybody that we love zarzuela. And in this very case that I'm sharing with you, with the understanding and knowing that we have the fortune that Pepita Biel recorded it herself, the Luisa Fernanda herself, to the eyes of the composer who lived here last years in Mexico, in our country. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you some other time soon.